The thing is, here's kind of a thought experiment. If I take a ship and a car, part of my car breaks, and so I replace it. And another part breaks, and so I replace it. And another part breaks, and so I replace it. And eventually, I've replaced every single part on that car. And yet, it's still my car. There's nothing left of the original car. As a matter of fact, there's no atoms in this body that were there when I was born.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, I mean, you said that if I killed you and replaced you with an exact copy of you, you'd be dead. So
yeah, the one you killed would be dead.
Yeah, but, I mean, look, if I destroyed your computer and then gave you the exact same computer, like an exact copy of it, no one would notice the difference. There wouldn't be any difference.
If you broke into my house, stole my computer, and replaced it with an exact copy of my computer, you're correct.
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't know.
Yeah, and no one would care because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, I mean, there's something more than the atoms that make up a human. Because if I were to kill you and replace you with a copy, then you wouldn't be you. You'd be dead.
The difference there is in perspective. If you come into my house and steal my computer and replace it with an absolutely identical computer, I wouldn't know the difference.
Yes.
The computer, though, is not still the same. It's a copy. Mm-hmm. It is a copy. And if my old computer were conscious, were aware, or was able to actually, somebody connected it on the internet or whatever, and logged in, they would then be able to tell, hey, this computer belongs to Matt. And then it would perhaps show up, and I'd say, somebody's replaced mine with an exact copy. But there are still two, not one. You still have two physically different things. The fact that I don't know that you've swapped it is irrelevant to whether or not there are two physically different things. And if you make an exact copy of me and kill me, I'm dead. The copy of me gets to exist. And the copy of me will have the same thoughts, memories, and everything else because it was made at time X. And then it will go on living its own life. And it is now something else from the second you've created it on. It is something else.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is, I mean, if you're dead, I mean, if the universe is nothing more than, what physics explains as, atoms and stuff, then, why are you actually dead? There shouldn't be any difference. I just put, the same thing there. The universe would be exactly the same, so...
No, it wasn't.
I mean, like, if you're dead, so, I mean, there is something more than matter that defines you. Consciousness is more than just a machine. Humans are not just plain machines, you know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, one of the things that you can't replicate, if you created, a clone of a human and somehow managed to bring that person to adulthood in a short time and pop them out and so you have this clone that's biologically identical, you still can't...
like copy over all the memories or something.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You can't replicate all the experiences that person's been through. And I mean, we are the sum of our experiences to a large extent. A lot of the way we think, what we think, is a product of what we've experienced in life.
You're really talking about the problem of consciousness, the mind-body duality.
Yeah.
The thing is that the best explanation for consciousness that I'm aware of, and consciousness is to some extent a puzzle that people are still working out, is that consciousness is an emergent property. It is a product of what the brain does. Much like wetness, a single molecule of water isn't wet. Are 2 molecules of water wet? What about 3? When do you get wetness? And yet wetness is a property of water once you get enough molecules together. It's not a direct analogy, but it comes kind of close. But the idea that there is something, this self-awareness, this consciousness, that gives us this kind of Cartesian sense of self, that's fact, and whether or not it's understood is one thing. But your question about making a duplicate of me, the answer is it's still a duplicate, and it's not me. And by the way, the net effect, you're talking about meaning. It wouldn't matter. Well, you're right. Someday, if current models are correct, the universe is going to suffer heat death, at which point there will be nothing alive, and no minds, no thoughts. And at that point, everything will be meaningless. But the meaning is something that's current right now. When I'm dead, it may not matter to people who come 3,000 years from now that I ever lived, but it matters to me right now, and that's what I meant about the perspective. From my perspective, I can't tell if you've changed my computer with one that's identical. I might suspect it. I might suspect it every day because sometimes it doesn't act the way I expect it to. But I can tell, well, I may not be able to tell if you kill me. For example, if you cut my head off really quick, I may never know that I'm dead because for me, when I'm dead as far as I'm concerned. If I find out differently, that'd be neat. But you definitely killed me.
But what I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to argue with this example is that consciousness is not merely like makeup of atoms, that there has to be, a supernatural soul to it.
Okay,
Why?
Make the case, because I don't see you getting anywhere near that. You're saying, here's something that we don't have an explanation for, and therefore the explanation must be supernatural. That's a non sequitur. That's how people came up with every explanation for every unexplained phenomena. Ooh, lightning, it's really weird. We don't know how the hell that happened, so it must be God's throwing lightning bolts. Yeah, you're more sophisticated, so you've got a better puzzle. But the puzzle doesn't tell you anything about where it came from.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to say it's unexplainable, so, I'm just going to put a supernatural label on it. I'm saying, I'm not capable, look, from my perspective, I can't tell if everyone else is just, a biological machine. But I personally can know that I myself have a soul. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, if you can't tell that, then you missed a critical part of brain development when you were a child, because everybody else can do that. It's called theory of mind. Look it up.
No, I'm saying, rationally, it's possible that everyone else is soul. I know personally that I have a soul because I know that I have consciousness.
How do you know that you have a soul?
Because you can just feel it. You know that you're conscious. You know that.
I know that I'm conscious.
Yeah.
I know that I'm conscious. You're saying that knowing that your consciousness is feeling that you have a soul?
Exactly.
Well, that.
Okay. When did you get this soul?
I'm still concerned about what. You're saying that you know you have a soul because you're conscious.
Yes.
What is a soul? How does being conscious let you know that you have one?
Because if I look around, everyone could just be machines, but I just know. I'm just able to feel it. Everyone should be able to feel that they have a soul.
Why? What is this feeling? Because if you just tell me that the feeling is I feel conscious, that doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't have any explanatory power. It's just putting one label on something else.
Yeah.
What is this feeling that you have that makes you convinced that you have a soul?
Well, I can, I'm able, reside basically within my body. It's really hard to explain, but you just know that you're conscious. You feel you're more than just a collection of atoms. Your brain, by science terms, is no more than a collection of atoms. So if we were just no more than a collection of atoms, we wouldn't be here. We would just be like machines wandering around. So you're essentially able to feel that there's something more. There's something more inside of you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Why would you think we'd be just like machines running around if we were just a collection of atoms, which we are?
Because collections of atoms can be no more than a machine that like a computer.
Why? No, that's an assertion
why?
from you. You haven't demonstrated that. You're just saying it over and over again. A collection of atoms can be nothing more than a machine. Okay, well, I've already accepted your thing that we're biological machines. I just happen to say that while we may not have an explanation for consciousness, what you're labeling as consciousness is what this particular biological machine does.
Okay, how about if you look at free will, all the laws of physics and everything, if you have a specific, start, the outcome is predetermined. Free will.
No, I have a physicist in the room who's violently shaking his head, but I'm not even going to bother with that because you called in to define God as a supernatural force that created us. And then you start arguing for a soul, and the best thing you can offer as evidence for the soul is the fact that you feel it, and yet when asked to describe, there's Mark, then asked to describe the feeling, you jump to free will. Are you going to acknowledge any points we've made? Are you going to concede the soul argument?